So now that you've framed up your fabric, we're going to transfer the design. So take your A4 sheets, and then all you want to do is you just want to fold that just to make it a bit smaller. So that will just easily fit underneath the silk organza. So we're just going to line that up so that we can make sure it's square to the fabric. Okay, so just a couple of markers, just think about the distance from the roller at both sides and also the distance here as well. And all you want to do is you just want to place a pin through the fabric. If you just catch at the top and the bottom to start off with. And then we're going to just pin one here at the side. Try not to go through the design, so just pin that one a little bit lower here. And then just pin the other side in position. There we go. Okay, so I suggest using a friction pen if you do have one at home. They are available on the website. They are much better than using a pencil or any kind of chalk related item. The reason why is because it's a very, very fine nib. It's less than 1 millimeter. This one is 0.5 millimeters. And also it removes with steam, so it will just come out really easily. So it's very quick to use and it remains on the design until you use the iron. Just make sure you've got your clamp available, because what we're going to do is we're going to move off the table and then we're going to clamp the frame to the table. So I'm just going to place that in position there. You want to make sure that the fixing screw underneath, which is this piece here, just make sure that butts against the table. It's not on the table, it just aligns with it, which will make it a little bit easier. So you just need one clamp to hold the frame in place. This is only really relevant when you work on a 12-inch embroidery frame. So that feels sturdy, just make sure that's not going to go anywhere. Now with your design, you don't have to copy all of the lines. I've given you more information. This is just a reference point, but I'm going to show you some of the little things that you can do just as a quicker way of transferring. So you really want to capture the main lines as you go across. Because you have that colour copy as well of the design, you don't need to individually mark the beads. So we're not going to mark those beads in, but we will draw this line in here. Okay, and then with the vermicelli, just draw that continuous line to start off with. And then you can just mark in the little dots as you go along. So just get that line in first. And then all you're doing is you're just marking those little bead markers. So the design was developed on Illustrator, which is a great way to get very accurate designs. It enables you to just balance out your sketches, because normally each design starts with a sketch and a mood board, and then you start to develop it from there. Okay, so when you come to do the long strands coming down, I just want to show you something which would be a good little reference point. Is you see how I'm just drawing through the center of the bead line? Again, you don't have to mark the beads individually, but just mark the section that you're going to bead. So make sure you capture that. And then when you have a look at the sample here, you can see that we've got metallic and we've got fuchsia pink. So a good way to just identify and label them, you want to put M for metallic on these ones here. Okay, so this is the one that we've just done, this one here. Okay, so that's the fuchsia pink. This one's the metallic, so just put M. Don't worry, you're going to be covering the text anyway, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so it's a good little marker to think about. Repeat that for those ones as well. And then another thing to think about is the sequins. So again, you don't have to draw those out individually when you transfer. But let's just continue that line here. Okay, and then just do a little dash, that's the little finishing point. And then just draw through the centre of that sequin line. Do a little dash here. Now when you work with sequins a bit more, you'll realise when you start looking at them, you'll notice where the starting point and the finishing point should be, depending on how they layer up. So with this design, the starting point is here. The next sequin lays on top of that one, and the next one on top, so you know that that's your starting point, you don't start here. Okay, so a good little way to mark that is to just do a little arrow so that you can see that you start from that point and you work your way up. Okay, so just repeat those for those sequins there. And then again, when you're looking at doing these pieces, they're called the barbs, which is just a part of the jellyfish. Just draw through the centre of those, and again you can just mark that with a little dot so you know your positioning when you start to work with those toho beads. Lovely. Okay, same with the bullion, just draw a line going across. Now you have a bead at the end there. Okay, and then again you can always mark the sequins here, so because we've only got a few, we can just mark those. So I've covered most of that design. Obviously just make sure all of those lines are transferred, and once that's finished, just remove the pins. Okay, obviously your design will be completely covered. And I just want to give you a little tip actually. If you're working with something that you're wearing that's quite dark on the bottom half, if you actually get a piece of cloth, a light coloured cloth, this is just a muslin, and if you place that underneath, it just makes it a lot easier to see what you're doing on top of the frame. Okay, so that's transferring the design. The next part that we're going to cover is the tambour embroidery, and we're going to be looking at doing the pulling stitch for the fuchsia pink and the metallic thread.